What up, you dude?
How's it going? We got you a special Monday night Badger Banter. It's your boy, Badger Exploration, back at it again with some prospecting madness. Joined with our lovely guest, Mr. Prospector Ron from Pike River Prospecting. How are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, good to see you.
Good to see you. It's a pleasure and honor to have you out here. We got a whole bunch of cool people in the chat. We also have Senor Jericho and Hercules. Oh, his camera just went. There he is. What's up, buddy?
How's it going? I'm sending out invites.
Fantastic. We are joined tonight in the chat. I'm going to go through, say a quick howdy how. We got Adventures with Goats, Gold Eagle, Diamond with Scuba Steve. Joe, how's it going? I know we got a bunch of people also on Jericho's chats as well. How's it going, guys, there in Twitter, featuring and hanging out from us from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. You know it. Thank you guys for hanging out tonight. But right now, Ron, we're just kind of chilling and going to chat, but we were just talking a bunch about different upcoming events, like the Spring Dirt Fling that me and Jericho have been doing. Jericho's been running out there with Lucky Strike. How's it going, Shane? Good evening. But, yeah, how are you tonight, Ron? And thank you so much for joining us.
I was having a good time here when we were doing our pre-chat before everything started. And so I hope we keep our momentum going here.
right.
And this is my first time meeting Jericho, so
yeah, this is your guys' first time. I know, like the first time I went to, I guess that's what I started with. Probably. Little background story on how me and Ron met, but we met when I was first researching equipment and where I could even get a hold of gear, and kind of just to get it in my hands, because a big part of as all you treasure hunters know, as we talk about, is how does it feel? The quality, how's it feel in your hand? What, you can tell all that stuff that you can't in a real life store. You can tell that stuff versus going online and just getting what you think you need. And then plus what I cherish the most about locations and on spot help for your specific prospecting treasure hunting needs is I don't know what I need necessarily even to begin with. I don't know the questions I need to ask. And when you go to a shop, unlike the internet, I need to already know what I need to find. When I went to Ron and I messaged him on Facebook, I got a response back like that. And he let me know when they were open, all the information I needed to know, even let me know about their incredible club, which we'll touch on later tonight in detail for you all. But he gave me just insurmountable, helpful and valuable tips, tricks, and all sorts of different advice when it came to acquiring my arsenal of different prospecting and treasure hunting in general, supplies and tools and resources. And as you all know, there's a ton of people out there giving you advice all the time. So when you get an honest and just generally precise advice like Ron gave me, where he didn't try to make a dime off me, he told me what I needed to know and what I needed to start and get going. And I have been more than thrilled, and I'm excited to share his Pike River Prospecting and especially the awesome prospecting club that I've been officially joined as of last week, which is exciting.
Yep, we let him in.
You let him in? Oh, no.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, the prerequisite is you come twice. They came again. So he and Anastasia are now full-fledged members.
Well,
We did it. We did.
like I was telling you before, I met Elijah a couple of years ago at a magnet fishing event, and I said, next year, you're going to go gold prospecting with me down south. And he's like, yeah, right. I was like, no, next year, you're coming to the Spring Dirt Fling, you're going to get some gold, and you're going to have a great time. A couple 1,000+ miles later, 19 hours of driving, and we got pictures of him getting his first. He got 5 big old pickers for his first time.
That's
And I
good.
said, you got spoiled. Don't get used to that, because when you go back up to Wisconsin, you'll find out why I moved down here.
Yeah, he's been to our outings already, so he's familiar with flower gold.
Yeah.
I'm definitely finding a lot more flour.
Speaking of flower gold, I messaged him. I was hoping I'd be able to get him to come in on, but I don't know if he got my message.
Oh, Flower Gold Wizard. Nice.
The old flower gold wizard, Mr. Jason. I was hoping we could get him to hop on, but I don't know if he got the.
Yeah, he stops in here every so often, on maybe coming and going from his prospecting. trips, but really he doesn't live that far from here, probably like 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah, not far at all. And that was the thing I thought about when I was still living up there. I was considering it, but it was what, 2.5 hour drive each
For
way?
you?
Yeah,
For you, Jericho? No, for you, it's almost 4 hours, bro.
4 hours.
From where you're
Yeah.
living. For me, it's about an hour and 32 minutes.
Yeah, I know it's a lot. It was a long ways, and my wife was like,
Yeah.
"We're gonna have to go. If we go up there, we'd have to get a hotel room, spend the night." And I was
Hey,
like, "Yeah, but we could just go prospecting 2 days in a row."
Camping.
Yeah, you wouldn't even get coffee money up here. I'll tell you, but it's the pursuit is
Well-
the most important thing.
But
Hey, I found some agates when we were out. That was cool.
Yeah,
Alicia Allen Adventures, welcome. The one thing,
Alicia, welcome. Thank you for
What-
hanging out.
what I
DB?
found for Wisconsin is there's different deposit zones. Like obviously everybody knows about Nugget Lake. And then they know about the deposit zone over by you, which comes from the upper Michigan. But a lot of people don't know that Mississippi River used to turn left over at Prairie du Chien and make its way up to Green Bay. And there's a lot of deposit areas along that valley that most people are unaware of. And that's what makes Black Earth Creek a deposit zone.
Yep.
And I found amazing gold down in Richland County, volcanic activity, signs of volcanic activity, as well as in the Black Earth Creek area. I was pulling out of 50 buckets, we got a little over 1.5 grams, which is not bad at all for Wisconsin.
No.
yeah. Supposedly there was a row of mountains from about that area all the way over to Lake Racine.
Yep.
Yeah. That's so funny because literally you talking about that. That's one of the main things that once I learned about that specific range that was there, that was taken out basically by the glaciers, is that whole deposit that lines that Black Earth Creek and all, like there's several areas probably within a throwing stone of where I am located now that I've gone out and done some test pans where I've pulled out. Now I'm at about 86 total buckets I've done over the last month and a half or so. And we've pulled out here, I'll see if I can't show you, but it's about 1/4 gram almost.
That's still not bad at all for up as far as you guys are.
No, and I mean, I'm literally going 35, 40 minutes max from my house, which is insane.
Yeah, so I told Elijah my birthday's in August, and I went out with the Gold Monster 1000, and I found 4 nuggets in the afternoon. And the place where we're getting ready, we got permission now to go on. They're pulling up ounce nuggets out of the tailing piles because they were getting discharge off of those dredges. So I told Elijah if he comes down, he's going to have to bring me a birthday present.
Yeah. I from what I understand, the Gold Monster is a pretty good machine, but being a VLF, they really don't get like the depth that they do on a pulse induction.
Right.
It's quite an accomplishment, to get nice big nuggets like that.
Well, see, up here or in Virginia, I'm in Virginia, and then in down where we go in North Carolina, it was reaching down to between 1.5 foot and 2 foot for 1/4 gram and 1/4 gram nuggets pickers.
Uh-huh.
So it was hitting the signals, but
Yeah.
with the tailings piles, and yes, Scuba Steve, we are bending this weekend. With the tailings piles, they're raking them, raking and swinging with hand rakes. But still, like at North Carolina Treasure Hunter Campground, with their tailings piles, they're getting what the one guy got like 5 or 6 different coins, buttons, a silver spoon, all stuff that got discharged in the tailings pile. I said, that sounds like enough. I'm surprised they didn't find any bones.
Yeah. Who says that out west has all the big nuggets, though, huh?
And they don't.
Right?
I guess Indiana's pretty good too. I mean, they find beautiful nuggets down there, and they're the ones that came from here in Wisconsin.
Yeah, they got pushed down from Wisconsin down to here.
Yeah, and I guess Lake Michigan was a river valley.
Yep.
And the glaciers cleaned it out, and shoved everything down south. So you find what you'd normally find around here, you find also down there. And like most glacial formations, it's the terminations are where you end up finding your gold. They're a little better than just say a regular glacial formation where that glacier stopped.
Deposit zones
before it moved on. So and my theory is glaciers did have a lot of dirt, a lot of sand, but also a lot of clay.
Yeah,
gold and clay mixed together, and as time passes out of that big mass of clay, that it all deteriorates, and your gold ends up in your dirt, and that's how it kind of gets spread around here in Wisconsin. It's kind of in the dirt, most of it.
The alluvial drift gold.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, see, what we were looking at is, and this is actually one of the things we're going to do on my channel, is one of the places I go in Western North Carolina has a different colored clay than Eastern North Carolina. So I'm going to bring a basketball-sized piece of clay back from each one. And then we're going to take a bunch of gold and put it on a water table and roll clay balls over it just to see how much gold the clay steals when the clay gets pushed. And my belief is that if a clay ball rolls over gold, it's going to pick up the gold and take it away.
Yep. Go ahead.
What is your opinion on that? As far as then, okay, with the sluice, if you're running heavy clay material, is the clay particles snatching up the flour gold out of the sluice and pulling it down?
I do believe so. It seems like, a lot of guys like to work in the clay, on that top layer, and they have luck. I've never really had that much luck. Most of mine is just actually where you find cobbles or bedrock. If you can hardly get a shovel in there, that's the place to dig.
Yeah.
You just pull the cobbles out of the way and you run that material, even though it's close to the top.
Yeah. And that's where on the Horse Creek in Richland County, that's where we ended up getting a great pile.
Yeah, I guess over in it'd be Lower Michigan. I forget exactly what river it is, but they actually get nuggets, and they get everything on the side.
Yep, just off Ionia State Park. I know exactly what you're talking about.
They get nothing out of the middle. They don't get anything anywhere, just on the side, and that's where the water hits. Well,
and that's where it gets pushed up off the bank when it rolls out. That's the rolling deposit zone, is my opinion on that.
Yeah. Gold's deposited in many ways. That people just you think of moving in water and moving deeper and deeper and deeper. Gold gets moved a lot of different ways.
Scorpion Metals, Superstition, welcome.
Like, that's so interesting. I'm hello, Superstition, welcome. Scorpion Metals, Mr. Goldpan, Dutchy, JD, hello. But that it's so interesting because it makes the puzzle, like the hunt of all of this, so much more thrilling to me to hear that. Like, but the second I think I start to get a handle on any of this treasure hunting, I'll throw a curveball and I'm like, oh yeah, gold does move in all these different ways, and it's not just these plunges, and I'm spending all my waking hours essentially dedicated to learning and researching and working on this passion, right, to make this a full-time thing so we can keep bringing all of you incredible people better and better content. And it's so impressive how gold moves, like in how it can flatten itself out over time and how it rumbles, and the way the gold looks is how you can tell how far down the stream it is maybe you've gone, and you can predict different areas. It's like, I'm curious, where do you think the mother lode is of all of Wisconsin?
I'll tell you what Mike Pung told me, and I'm sure he's told Prospector Ron the same thing. Where the gold laid. The gold is where it laid. Because
gold is where it's at, yes.
Yep, it's where it's at. And if you look at the history of Wisconsin and you go back through the hydrological tables, like one of our very good friends is a geochemist and geologist, the renowned Jim Bryce out of Canada. He comes on our streams with us. And I sent Elijah some coordinates, and it's comical because that's what would you say was within a few 100 yards of where Ron took you to go prospecting?
Literally. It was probably like where I met Wade that first day, Ron.
Oh yeah.
I think it was 4 streams over from the exact coordinates I had gone and collected that 80 some buckets I was talking about.
And I got the information just based upon ancient hydrological tables, and I think that if someone were to take the time to figure out where the water came from and where it all ran to, and was able to calculate that out, that's how you'll find your honey hole, Elijah.
I have to learn how to calculate that out, but I'm down for the challenge.
It's
Sounds
probably
like the first math problem I'd ever enjoy.
it's probably where there's going to be a couple lobes of the glaciers came together. Is going to be
Kind of like a meet point
Yeah.
that
a meeting point. Yes.
So it's like when me and Wade were talking about, I looked over the whole geographical, like the topographical maps. I was looking at how it all was etched out. I was looking at different types of maps that showed different things. And he had mentioned the same thing where we saw these old riverbeds that were these water drops, these falls that have these huge pooling sections. And as you zoom out, you see 3 to 6 of these that kind of collect into what was at one time a kind of, it looks like almost a cone valley that like collected it all and pushed in and deeped out. So would you look at that pinnacle point of the cone?
So do you know where the quartzite deposit is just south of you, Ron? The huge quartzite swamp. It's like in the state park, above Moraine Park.
I don't know. Kettle Marine Park, you mean?
Well, it's north of that. There's a quartzite deposit. It's probably an hour south of Elijah.
I used to live there. I lived at say into Plymouth, Sheboygan area.
Yep, right there by Watertown. All right, so
by Watertown.
My belief by looking at the water tables is it's going to be west or east of there and north, just based upon the deposit zones, because it washed out that quartzite later after the glaciers decided to move and exposed all of that quartzite. So there's nowhere else like that in the country.
Yeah, and another thing on top of that, that's where 2 glaciers came together.
Yeah,
collapsed on top of each other. Yeah, that's why that terrain is so rough. You know, people from other parts of the country, the big mountains, you know, they think they have rugged land. This stuff is like, I'd rather drive in the mountains than I would say pulling a trailer on this hilly stuff, because it's all these little hummocks that are maybe 40, 50 feet or 200 feet or whatever. It varies. But I had a place, say in Plymouth, a little creek in the backyard. I had gold there too.
really?
I was even accused of stocking it with gold. And at that time, it was $800 an ounce, and I said, "Do you think I would waste $800 an ounce on you?" I told the guy.
Right. Oh, you're stuck in it. That's awesome. See, there's this little creek that actually runs through my land, like through my family's land. And we're so close. In this creek, I've found it. It is a down and off spread of the main one that I've been panning up by you guys. Like, it's one of the offshoots. I'm like, I don't know why I haven't yet. I think I'm just going to go out tomorrow, maybe after I get done with work, and just pan a few spots up and down it and see. Because if I found one little fleck of gold on our property, how crazy would that be? Oh.
But like, there's one area, you know, where you have bedrock. It's near Sheboygan. They have nice little nuggets there. I mean, I could believe my friends and I were pulling really nice little nuggets out, real flat ones. There were cracks.
Wow.
So,
really? Hey, what's up, Sam?
Hi, Squirrel.
How's it going? Hey, Junior. What's up, Junior?
That's Prospector Ron down there. There's my wife, Samantha. There's Junior in the back. And then there's the Scorpion family over there. They're in chat.
What's up, dude? How's it going? Yeah, we're having a good old time out here tonight.
Yeah, and that section in Sheboygan where you're talking about where it's actually there are nuggets, that is really close to where I was saying the hydrological table showed the ancient rivers were, and how the topographic area of Wisconsin changed. I honestly believe there's a larger deposit zone in that area where you can go and find ounce nuggets, or that's where they're finding them diamonds.
Yeah. Well, then another thing, like say in Manitowoc area, which is say north of Sheboygan, like 20 some miles, they have all the bedrock and waterfalls. There were rivers and creeks there before the glaciers. That's the way the water ran. It ran over this limestone bedrock.
Okay. Really?
Yep.
I never would have thought that out there. Interesting. Huh.
Yeah. And I believe the one near Sheboygan too was that way.
Now, what's your opinion on, have you done much in Southwest Wisconsin at all, from like say La Crosse down to Illinois, Iowa border?
No, I never did, you know, and I've been a president of prospecting clubs, and I get a lot of privileged information, and I never really heard of much going on except for like that Black
Earth Creek.
Black Earth Creek. Yeah, I heard about that for years already.
Well, historically, Prairie du Chien has one of the first gold mines, and it's still there, and it's just north of Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin. They actually call it Gold Mine Road. And this dates back into the 1800s, and I'd say mid 1860s, late 1870s. And they were pulling the gold out of the sandstone in the Mississippi River Valley.
Okay, what was that? Kind of an alluvial type of gold that was moved along, or was it actually in the?
It was in the hill. They dug in, made them it'd be a sandstone lode mine.
Yeah, that's believable because sand is just recycled. You know, sandstone is recycled sand that turns into rock. So whatever was in there was in there. You know, as it formed back into rock.
Yeah, but they were pulling nothing of substantial amounts, but the fact that there's still literally miles and miles of this sandstone bluff where you can drive down and see the black sand lines that are 3-4 foot thick. And it makes me wonder, hey, if I walk down there with my pick and my pan and scrape away, you know, a couple, you know, am I going to find some? It is magnetic. We did test it with the Kratos Titan. It is magnetic black sand. So then I guess it would go to the same thing you're saying. It's just a redeposit zone that turned to rock over time.
Yeah. Well, in the old days, they had to get an ounce a day to make a living. And they might have thought that it wasn't viable.
A day, an ounce a day to make a living. Dang, I put it in my head. I was like, if I could figure out a way to get an ounce, like even
and you could down here, you just would have to spend a lot of time shoveling.
20 hours a day.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to team do it, or we'd have to have 4-inch dredges. That's the only way we could do it. But like with the property, there's 4 historic gold mines that are on the map, but are no longer even remotely in operation today. And then we went, how far is Kentuck from? 15 minutes east to Kentuck, where one of the largest gold mines in Virginia is. And on the adjacent property, we found boulders twice the size of my wife's SUV and boil holes that we were pulling 3 different types of clay out of and rotten bedrock. So we went there to do some sampling. This is a place where we're going to have to go figure out a recirculating system. I know that I got a Keen high banker with a gas pump. That isn't going to work in the mountains with a spring. We're going to definitely need to look at getting some kind of the gold cube wouldn't cut it. It's going to have to be something along the lines of an electric sluice, electric high banker, so Badger and I can get down there and actually get in it and get some gold. Anything else is too heavy.
Now, are you in a glacial area there yourself?
We are down in the Piedmont fingerlings off of the Blue Ridge Mountains, if that helps you any.
Okay, yeah, I'm not that familiar where I could, say pinpoint.
I will send you some coordinates and some information after, and then you'll be able to see what we're talking about. And I put up a short. I'll send you the link to the short where you can see the boil hole in below this rock. My arm's probably 30 inches long, and I couldn't reach the bottom of it. It wasn't big enough to get a shovel into. Now I've got the gold hound, so I'm going to attack that sucker with the gold hound when we go back. But it's the amount of gold just discovered in that area is astonishing. To be able to have full run of this property, to be able to pull up as much gold as we can, we got to split it with the owner. But Elijah's down, I'm down. Let's shovel.
Yeah, man. Hey, that's why these young arms still work, baby. I worked construction for like 3 years. I can do this.
Yeah. Like Elijah, the thing you have going for you is you've gotten this at a young age. I wish I would have done what I did here in this prospecting like 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
I would have found a way to make it work. Because you have all kinds of energy, and you have now you have support from all different lanes of this prospecting, and prospecting is a big brush. It eats a lot of stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, you'll be able to make it just on what you make. You wouldn't even have to worry about a channel, with the content. But that's the fun part.
I know, that's exactly right. That's the fun part. That's what's so interesting about this prospecting thing is like literally just the gold potentially could sustain me while I build this channel up, which is like.
And it's not even just the gold. There is so much fine gem specimens, gemstones, and relics and antiques and relics that we'll come across that. Our treasure hunter series is never going to die. The East, this area is full of history, and there's so many acreage of national forest that had housing in it, had people living there in the 1600s, 1700s, that trees grew up around them. The cities went away, and nobody cares. Well, we care.
Yeah, that's it. That's my exact same thing. Jericho, you and I see a lot alike. What we have here, I'm in Marinette County in northern Wisconsin. It's we're just across the river from Michigan, and the county here is like bigger than the state of Rhode Island, and there's something like 200 and some thousand acres of county forest, and it's just like it's yours. You can't abuse it. There's a certain set of laws you have to abide by, but you can use it like it's yours.
Yep.
And like in my situation, I've adopted more or less a ghost town. It's a farming community, and they were taken out by the lousy soil that we have here, and that was pretty much in a lot of areas where the farms didn't survive. They just didn't have the soil. So when we drive around in our county forest, you can see the places and kind of profile it because they planted them with red pine.
Uh-huh.
And is all you go in and you can look for the nail bed when you're going in, and you find the nail bed, and that's where you start.
Yep.
And one particular location too, I've been back about 40 times. And just like I was saying to Jericho when we were talking before this started, that I thought that when you were magnet fishing, you would just throw the magnet out and you'd, okay, I'm all done. I got 3 pieces of trash that somebody threw in there. Okay, you just got the easy stuff out of the way for the big,
Wait till the car doors and
It
the
works in layers. You're exactly right. It works in layers, man. You scrape and I'll say, I've been going to a pickaroon spot now for 2 years. And every time we've gotten pickaroons, I went back there yesterday, 6 pickaroons, 6. I pulled over 50 pickaroons myself out of this spot now.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's incredible. I never knew they existed, but you get all these layers off of there. Like I was there probably 20 times before I found a single coin.
Really?
Because
Really?
Here, see this pan here.
Look at
That's
all
all full of lead. There's 8 pounds of lead here.
Here, hold on a second. Show it again.
Yeah, show that again.
Oh, I'll get it.
Closer to you. There you go. Look at that. Wow. A bucket of lead.
I still haven't taken mine out that I got this year so far. That's just from like the last 3 years. So you got to get that stuff out of the way. But and I'm trying to preserve the history of that little community. It was called Phillipsburg, and there was supposedly a mill somewhere in the area, and I think it was on that property. And that you're only talking like 1905, but that history was so short there. Everybody was done by like 1940, and for sure by say World War II.
Done,
yeah.
Well, it's interesting because like mills, I mean, just because my family's been working on, that's why we're from the Fox area. I mean, they came over here from the Netherlands and Germany, and we started working in the mills. I guess my family's heritage since the 1800s into the 1900s, and I spent most of my time magnet fishing around all these mills, and the amount of tools and the old shovels and the paper mill tools, or the different ream runners and the streams and the belt feeders, I found one of these old sawdust roller bins, which is a massive bin on wheels that you roll, they fill with sawdust. It's just incredible, these things that are just left in the water. That's so cool. It's so neat to hear that.
Yeah, and the sad thing is some of that stuff, there's nobody there to tell you what it is.
Yeah.
You pretty much have to kind of guess, or there's some history nerd out there that just happens to know what it is that to share with you.
Well, that's what's so great about this community is that's what I love doing is a lot of times I don't know what. So you'll see a lot of times in my videos, I'll always be like, hey guys, if you don't know what this is, comment down below. And if you have an idea of someone that might know what this is, feel free to email me at badgerexploration13@gmail.com so we can get some information on it. Because this whole community is so amazing. It's like I've learned so much already just from, Jericho and Ron yourself here. It's such a neat community that we all, because you're right. You find these things, you're like, man, what is this? What is this strange object?
Well, one of the things that I liked the most about Elijah was we were talking about, okay, so we go out metal detecting, we find something, and it's historic. It's going to go to the museum. He didn't care. And a lot of people are, well, I want my cut. Well, we get the footage of it. We get the video finding it. Then we get the video, the news. We get the accolades of turning it in. But for us, it's living on in history. Yeah, and that's what made me
story. The memory.
I like him a lot.
It's not about me and hoarding this item in my secret collection. No one can see. No, not at all. I was like, me and Anastasia, one of our biggest dreams is like if we have a lot of things that I believe deserve to be shown off and highlighted and have a new life to be revisited and seen that a lot of places don't want or historic sites don't want. There's not a need for. So one of our biggest dreams is we want to create a real life museum someday on our property or whatever, that like a roadside museum, people can come in and see stuff, but a digital museum too, where you can put on your VR glasses and basically go through and have a museum of all these items. Because exactly right. It's about the history. It's the passion. It's that story. And I mean, Ron, we had an incredible conversation as well, you know, and that's why I just thought it'd be so great, because I knew you'd get right along with Jericho. You know, birds of a feather flock together. And it's all about that intrinsic need to share the history, the story. These were their people's lives. Like, this was their livelihood, who they were. And I mean, think about how much you value yourself and respect the things that you are good at and the things that you've created in your life. And once you want those things to somehow have a life of their own and to be remembered and to be given that life. And so whenever I see an object that was painstakingly used and made and labored over and labored with, it's like, I have this innate need and responsibility, almost, as a lot of us, I feel, do, to rescue it from its rusty demise and give it a new life on a pedestal of glory for people to enjoy, to share, to cherish, and to, you know, have moments like this for all of us to get together and get stoked on the idea that someday we might find that one item that puts it on the map, you know, that one story told.
Now, granted, the Danville Civil War treasure, that's one of the things that I've actually been doing a lot of research on lately. That's something that Badger and I are going to be doing. He's going to have to put the old dive suit on. We're going to have to get certified. We got information where the old train tracks were, where they moved the train tracks, and local people that have actually encountered different aspects of it. I think Virginia has if it's over 100 years old, we get to keep it law. But since it's technically, it'll end up, there'll be a fight between the state of Virginia and the feds of who gets the Civil War treasure when it's found. That's for sure. But I know that if the feds take it, we get 10%. All I know is I think it would be an epic adventure, just diving down with the underwater scuba gear or underwater detectors.
You know where the real money is in that treasure? It's in the movie rights, baby.
That's right.
Yeah, you got to make a document of it.
Yeah, documentary. Yeah.
We actually are going to have multiple cameras going, drone. We got a couple drone pilots. Now we're just working on financing it and the equipment, basically. So we're putting it together. We're contacting different companies, different businesses. We're going to do it in a 4-part series where part 1's going to be gold prospecting. Part 2 is going to be treasure hunting, the metal detecting and looking for the treasure. Part 3 is going to be magnet fishing. And then part 4 is going to be gem and rock hounding. So we're going to do it in a micro series, do it in 4 15-minute videos, and then release it as a whole and see if we can turn it into a TV series.
Basically, it'll be our pilot.
And that will be our pilot. And I honestly think win, lose, or draw, I know where to get gold. I know where to get rocks, crystals, and gems. I know where to get junk magnet fishing. And if we don't find the big treasure, at least we had the hunt, and we'll have the treasure of the people we encountered searching for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you'll have history saved too in the meantime. You know, you do your dives and you recover all that, and really it belongs to the people. If they were alive, you could give that stuff back to them.
Yeah. In fact, that's my favorite thing to do is like when I found that one phone in Beloit. I found him a phone and it started ringing out of nowhere, and we were able to return that phone same day to the dude. So it's like, I have several, like I found wallets before. Scuba Steve the other day went diving for a guy that lost his wallet with a bunch of money in it, and he ended up finding the guy's wallet, and he was able to go right to the bank and deposit his money. I mean, it's things like that. That is, yeah, you're right. If they were alive, give it right to them. And that feeling, man, I don't care what I've caught, I've never felt a better feeling than some dude who runs up to me so grateful, so thankful, like, oh my gosh, this means the world. You saving my butt by doing like thank you so much. Thank you. You found this. Like, that's why we find things, baby.
Diving with Scuba Steve. Yep, he recovered $2,500, and he said, I'm wanting to get with you soon to do some diving and filming. And that's what we were talking about, Steve, is once we get it set up, you'll have to drive down for the weekend. And when we got the dive location set in stone, it is in a river, so it's not super deep. I believe it's just we have to dodge tubers, kayakers, and canoeists. But the fact that we could find, and there was a train wreck. The thing is, there was a train wreck nearby there as well. And
hey, Wheelie Shiny Gold.
What's up, Wheelie Shiny Gold? Yeah, with the train wreck, finding anything to go with that, they have a museum for that, and to find anything of historical significance would just be awesome.
Oh yeah,
to be able to take something like and hand it in and be like, here you go, this goes in the museum.
What year was the wreck?
Greg, what year was the wreck? The 97. He's gonna look. I believe it was in 1897.
Take the money and run. Isn't that a song too?
Yeah. Yes, the train wreck was deliberate, and it did happen during either it was part of the Revolutionary War, huh?
It was not part of the Revolutionary War. The train wreck was not part of the
Revolutionary War. It was post-Civil War, like an uprising of the South again, where it was right before World War One.
It was a revolt. It was like it was, what do they call it? A arms incident was what the federal thing was. It was an armed incident. Yeah.
You know how
insurrection.
There you go.
You know how they say that South Carolina was the one, they first shot of the Civil War. That South Carolina was ready to start that war a couple decades before that. They were ready to. If people look back in their history, they were ready to. They were ready to go like in the 1830s.
Yeah, and what's crazy to think is that Danville was the capital of the South back then.
So Wheelie thinks it was a Civil War. You're talking about the one in Danville, right?
Yes.
So it was right after the Civil War. And
yeah. When it ended, they were talking about they tried to hide the treasure. That's the whole thing. They were trying to move the treasure.
Well, here's the thing. It was after South Carolina's formal
declaration. Yep.
They formally surrendered. It was
after the surrender.
It was related to that war 100%. Yeah. But it's also one of those things. It's like, from when General Lee surrendered to the very last surrendering general, where it was a span of almost 7 months. So, they
didn't have cell phones back then.
Yeah, I know, there wasn't a pager, right?
And then another, I guess I say treasure, but there are 10 cannons and a barrage of cannonballs buried somewhere near Chatham, and that'd be awesome to find that.
Yeah, well, what's interesting speaking about cannonballs specifically buried from Civil War remnants, when we were me and Danny Dip were magnet fishing and doing some treasure hunting and prospecting affiliated things in Pennsylvania, we were right next to a battlefield. Right to our left was a clear battlefield where it's a valley and two mountains had wedges just carved out where you saw where the outposts were, and it's incredible. And magnet fishing, working the ridges of this river all up and down it, right? And we ended up finding a 9-inch military round, and solid military unit. And as we get
artillery
round. We're talking with the police officers and the bomb squad that are there scanning it. And as they give it to us, we get to keep it. We're informed that just less than a month prior, over 2,800 live cannonballs, literally the size of bowling balls. And the police officer and the bomb squads were the ones that were in this hole. 26 feet down, they were excavating to build a foundation in this area, because the area we were fishing in, that it was literally where our cars was parked, is where it happened. So we were wondering why it looked like something was freshly dug up there and why it was all like torn to heck. And because I was finding old glass, little bottle heads, little fossils. I was finding tons of things from Civil War era, right? Well, it turns out that was an old ammunition and factory for the Civil War, where they made just countless rounds. And when the war ended, they got rid of all this stuff by literally just burying it here. No one left any record of it, no documentation, nothing. And they just started digging it in. And luckily, nothing exploded, but every single one was found to be live and lethal, which I'm like,
Yep.
Yeah,
And
you're right.
those were the ones that had the glycerin and the powder mix.
Yeah, the glycerin. Well, that's a dangerous one because the glycerin can just be shook wrong. Whew. Gotta find a peg leg.
Yeah, we've been trying to get a hold of Debbie for Mind Lab, trying to get a hold of a other. Like I like my Mind Lab. I don't know what's your detector of choice, Ron.
Well, myself and in my shop, I do sell like the XP and I sell Garrett, but I also sell Nocta and
Nocta.
Yeah, it's a superior product for the money.
Okay.
And they make a very good product and they make it easy to use. So my weapon of choice is the Nocta Legend.
All right. Now, see, I haven't been able to use. Only detectors I've been able to use have been Mind Lab. Everybody I know has a Mind Lab.
Well, you use my Simplex.
Well, I don't count that as a metal detector.
What do you mean? It's a $340 metal detector. It's a great metal detector. Well, it's what I have.
Well, it truly is a great machine. You know,
if you know how to use it. I don't know how to use that thing.
Well,
I'm learning.
Yeah, the American companies have stopped technology. I mean, they're going on technology from 7, 8, even 10 years ago.
Yeah,
that's why Mind Lab and XP and Nocta they're just driving laps around the American machines. And you got all this new technology at the same price.
Yep.
So, at one time you had, 3 major companies. Now White's went out of business and Garrett bought them up. And I just hope that they survive. I hope that they start coming out with some machines that will compete. I mean, these companies, they when they do these new machines, they cover all their bases for what their shortcomings were from the models before, and the XP was a shallower machine.
No, that's the Deuce 2, right? XP Deuce 2.
Yeah, XP Deus 2. Yes.
Deus 2.
Yeah. So they went right at getting a deep machine. And with Nocta, they didn't come out with a simultaneous frequency machine at one time. They relied on Amphibia, which I love. I mean, I found a lot of stuff with that. But the new machines are so quiet. They're just so easy to use. You just turn. I mean, my Legend, I just use it kind of in basic. I changed the recovery speed and I changed a couple of the other little settings. I haven't touched it for months.
That's nice.
Everything's the same. The ground balance is good. I don't run into. I did have to change my ground balance once, since like March.
I was told that Badger and I need to look at the Deus 2 because it has the greatest depth for waterproof. It has the greatest sensitivity levels, and it'll find the gold better than any other detector will, and relics. So,
yeah, I agree, although not for those reasons. The reasons is that they make that to go in water. They engineered it so that you have a shorter handle on it.
Yep.
Where you can shorten it up, and you have to use a wired set of headphones.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't, it doesn't go through the water. It just goes, the headphone signals go through
So
the
it
air.
doesn't like vibrate in your hand or anything.
I think they put that on there. Like,
Because I know because I've done a decent amount of stuff with like pinpointers, for underwater, and all of the ones that are usually underwater, especially now they've got really good patterns for like
my Profine 35 has iron out where I can turn off for the Profine 35. You can remove any ferrous signal to where it only finds gold, and it works amazing because I've used it, tested it, and it works. But it doesn't find the micros. It only finds about the smallest piece it detected was 0.37. But still,
0.37, that's
nice.
Pretty good for a pinpointer.
That's nice.
Part of the shortcoming of using a pinpointer is the tip of it is so big. You can't really touch it with the tip. And that's where you probably get more sensitivity. And it's interesting to see what the new one that Nokt is coming out with. They're coming out with one that's supposed to be like ferrous, non-ferrous also.
Yep. I heard that.
Streaming too. Narrow.
Gold Bay Dave was talking about it to me the other day, and he said that their higher end ones beat out Mind Lab's higher end one, especially with the one that does the 3D scans and where it does the coin identification, the metallurgy identification, sonar, LiDAR, and metal detecting all in one. And I was like, seriously? But it's $9,000.
You're talking about the Invenio.
Yeah, I am.
Yes. Yep.
I would love to have that, but
it's more expensive than my car.
And mine too. I would trade my car for it. If anybody wants a 2016 Nissan Versa with 121,000 miles, I will trade you for that metal detector. But that would make treasure hunting.
That's one way to get in shape. Make sure everywhere you have to go, you got to walk to, Jericho.
My wife has a beautiful car.
Right.
Why do I need mine?
That's right.
She doesn't drive in the South because people down here drive crazy.
Now, if you had the Invenio, though, if you were a privy digger, you wouldn't have to go around probing for the holes. You would see the anomalies on your detector
to the GPS coordinates within 6 inches.
Yeah, it's quite a machine. I
need help.
I've never had one in my hands, and I don't have very high-end machines in my shop even.
It's gonna rain, Greg.
Because my customers they're not willing to pay $3,000 for a machine.
Yeah. Well, that's when you're paying that much, you gotta be able to justify. That's getting to that price range we're all selling now. It's less of a hobby and more of a job. Like there needs to be some output I need to make it at least for my ROI structured noggin. Like I need to have my ROI on that. So it's
when you have your regular show, that you put out every week, you're going to have them,
100%.
Along with your
2 ounces of gold and it's paid for.
Yeah, all your and your 35-foot trailer, you're pulling behind you to go to each next adventure.
I know. I laugh. I'm looking at all this gear with the dredges and everything else, and I'm like thinking, man, it's really impressive how little gear I need to magnet fish.
I calculated it down to 18 foot long.
I got so much.
If we go with the 8.5 foot wide by 18 foot, we can make it work.
Yeah, at least you're not camping in your car. It's.
Yeah, well, I live out of my van.
That saves money, though.
It does. It does. More money for gear.
Well, sleep in your car a lot because I see you having so much potential here. You go from the lane, just one lane of magnet fishing. You end up that you have a big community, but it may become stagnant after a while. So you just step over into a different lane. And when you discovered with Jericho the gold prospecting, that opened a whole new world to you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So as long as you keep mixing it up, you'll have her made. And you do it, you get into this while you're young. Like a guy came into my shop and I told him, boy, I wish I would have opened my shop 50 years ago, because it's little kids come into the shop and they look at the prospecting equipment and they buy a bag of my gym dirt and sift through it, and some of them that impresses on them.
Oh,
That's what that's what I'm trying to do. I could have been doing that my whole life. I love every minute of it.
that's awesome.
I retired in 2017 and I haven't worked a day since.
Heck yeah, man. That's so awesome to hear. That's awesome. I could just tell the minute I chatted with you the first time and then hung out and saw your speech at the event and showing off all your store and their history and just the way you talked to people and treated everyone. It was just like you were one family. You were so kind, so genuine. You're just, it was heart touching, man. It was incredible. It was just, you could tell you were loving it. And it's like, it's so hard to not see someone like yourself with so much passion and enjoyment and zest for life and not be caught with that bug as well and want to spread it outward and onward. And man, it's just applaud you. It's an honor to have you on this live. I hope to have you on many more times. I love hanging out. This is such an honor. Speaking of when everyone, if they're available and can get to hang out and meet you, when's that next event coming up?
Okay, we have the rendezvous. Get the get it? Rendezvous. That'll be August 5th. And it would have been an event with Mike Pung on August 6th, but he had to change his weeks around because of prior commitments. So we're going to have the event anyway, but we're moving it to the day before a Saturday, so it's more convenient for people to travel and to spend a Saturday. And just as with our meetings, we have the Wisconsin-Michigan prospector meet in my shop. I have a nice meeting room in the back, and they meet there, and our usual format is at 9:00. They meet at the shop, and then they go out prospecting. I stay in my shop, and anybody comes late, then I tell them where they're going, so they can catch up, and then they come back, and then we have a meeting at 4:00 on our meeting day. But the rendezvous will be along the same lines, where we will have the outings, and then we'll have some guest speakers of one here, Mr. Badger Exploration. If he doesn't have any prior commitments, we'd love to have him, and we're going to promote him. And I believe we're going to get Mick Whalen. He's the GPA state rep. I think he was at the first time you came to the meeting. We'll get him, and we'll try to get somebody else to kind of balance it out a little bit with one of the other prospecting sports in there. So
nice. I like how you said that, prospecting sports.
It is. It's all a sport. You got to look at it that way.
Yeah, I like that.
That's how you.
So August 5th is the start date, correct?
Yes.
All right. Make sure you're there, guys. August 5th, and then every week the prospecting, Pike River Prospecting, the club, the Wisconsin Prospecting Club. Yep. We're meeting every
third Saturday of the month. It'll be July 15th.
Heck yeah, man. Every third Saturday, guys, of the month. I'm so excited. This month is going to be exciting. I'm going to be there at the 9 a.m. time, and we will be heading out then to go prospecting in the morning, I believe, with Wade and his son. They'll be hosting that one again.
Yes, and it's going to be running rocker boxes.
So yes, you were talking about that.
Yes, yeah, it'll be running rocker boxes. I had discovered.
Are you running them dry or wet?
No, it'll be wet. We actually have water, but we can't use recirculators.
Yeah,
but if it's manual, we can do it. So we set up tubs in a gravel pit.
Okay.
And then I discovered gold there probably like 10 years ago. And we've actually had countless outings there. And Wade and his son hit it repeatedly. There's these large cracks in the bedrock. And that's what they've been working. They've been working on a couple different cracks. They're just enormously long, and some of them are pretty deep. And so there's plenty of material to work there, and you might find a copper nugget from
Oh,
Yep.
so that's what I need to talk to you, Ron, after in the backstage. We got to put together a video that I think would be a great one for us to collaborate on, because I'm looking to get a hold of some copper so me and Jericho can make some coins and stuff out of copper for you and our collective as a little giveaway as a thank you to everyone.
You know what would make if you could come up with a stamp and get these pieces of copper in there, and then you pound it in, kind of like a hammered.
Yeah,
And,
one of the
yeah,
we actually have the CNC to do that, and our laser is 3 weeks out now from being able to do full HD photographs on silver, gold, and copper coins with our laser.
Nice. So you're thinking of getting some copper coins?
Well, we can talk about that backstage.
Yeah.
We don't want to give away the secrets because
we don't want to give away the trade secrets here.
Yeah,
Scorpion Metals. We don't want Scorpion Metals. I'll send you the invite. But yeah, we don't want to give away too much, but we do want to make our own. I'll just say that.
We do.
From dirt to pocket.
Yeah, man, that would be awesome.
Yeah, actually, in the Keweenaw, if you go around to some of the mines that allow it, there's some of them are on like county property. Then you can go on them. I believe like the Cliff Mine and the Central used to be a good one to go to, but that's they use all the tailings for road gravel, so a lot of the tailings piles have gone away. But you can find these like dime size on up, well, smaller too, but also bigger. And I mean, I have a guy who comes in my shop a couple times a year. He has AT Pro with I believe it's an 18-inch coil, and he goes over the tailings piles with that.
Oh,
and
wow.
He'll put down a little flag,
I'll get one.
and then when he has 2 or 3 that are in a location, he just shuts his machine off and just starts digging.
Really? Huh. Smart.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way of doing that. That's good. Huh.
Yeah.
I found my first piece of float copper last week.
I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. No.
I'm sorry. I found it on the Wolf River.
Yeah, here along the Menominee River, a lot of the detectors find old copper points and that too.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
A lot of times it's no rhyme or reason where they are, because they were done with it. You know, they probably threw the spear. You know, a lot of it was at level, and
Attle.
yeah, and that's you know, they couldn't find the point, or so maybe it went into the mud.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, so
And now it's there.
yeah. Yeah, that's my bucket list, to find one of those.
Same. To find a copper arrowhead or copper point, that would be a dream come true. You guys want to see some of the fossils I pulled out of Wicquiac Falls? Here's this one. Oh. It's like,
I just see me in the way. Oh yeah, there
we go.
That looks like a clam, doesn't it?
Yes, these are some type of like crustaceous period.
See, I thought it was more like a horn.
Yeah, it's kind of what it is. I found like a bunch of them. I've got a whole table of them.
A shell, like a horn?
Yeah, like these.
Yeah.
A little horn. But then I have this cool little guy, which...
The nipple rock.
No, it's a petrified nut. It's like a little...
Is that a petrified buckeye?
Is it?
It looks like it. It'd be funny if it was some copper light and he's walking around happy he's got a stone turd in his pocket.
Yeah.
I did find some petrified turd. Some like fish poo.
Oh yeah, you got some copper light from down here with us too.
Yeah. Oh, hey, maybe you guys know what this weird thing is.
It looks like part of a turtle shell.
Really?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It
It's heavy. It's like really heavy. Like, I mean,
It is.
absurdly heavy, guys.
it is a fossil though, huh?
I think so. I don't know. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Yeah, a lot of the ones you find on the Great Lakes are like
Is it UV
Sure.
reactive?
yeah.
No, I looked already. I wish, but it. Dude,
Now, Ron,
it's like
how do you feel about Muskellunge Lake State Park?
accurate, like the bone.
Muscle Lake.
Yeah.
I think it's a good opportunity for a lot of people to find gold. I've never been there myself because I more stayed to this area. Friend of mine who passed away a number of years ago, Dennis Laubenstein, prospector. He was from like Bear Creek. He had a deer hunting property with his buddy, and they had a
Deer
creek
camping it?
yeah, and they had a creek going through there that had gold in it. So
Okay.
we'd go there quite often, and
Same with our deer camp up where I go deer hunting. Black streaks all the way through. That's so up in Nicolay National Forest. I pulled out a pan of dirt there last like 2 weekends ago, and I still got to pan through the rest of it because we found like 4 or 5 little flecks and a tiny, smaller than Kevin's picker. Sorry, my bad.
yeah, you're going to have a lot of guys hanging around with you there, but letting secrets like that out. Yeah.
Yeah, I told him you got to keep those. I sent him coordinates, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't care." No, I see. For us, we find gold somewhere, and we will send someone. Like people ask me, "Hey, what about gold here? Have you ever gone here?" I'll send them GPS coordinates and directions. Okay, so there's this white tree and this big brown rock. Don't go there because it's deep. Go over here. I don't care. I'm not going to get all the gold out of the water. I'll probably never go back to some of the places I've been. So we have no problem telling people where they can go dig. And now if we get like a honey hole, that'll be a secret, but
Oh, sure.
pickers and flakes and flour dust and fly poop, that we'll share that with everybody all day long.
You might be generous, but you're not stupid.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we'd love to have you come down here, and I think you would truly enjoy getting to see the dredge. It's a piece of history that a father and son found during a drought in the field behind their house on their property.
Wow.
And the just tip of the ship came out, and they're like, why? And they kept digging a little more. And if you want to see the episode, it's on Beyond Oak Island, season 3, episode 7, North Carolina Gold, or you can just Google Eastern Outdoor Expedition or look on mine or Elijah's videos. This place, it's amazing. And the size of gold that we're pulling out of the creek, like look at your pinky nail. And that's a normal picker.
Yeah. Wow.
It was crazy. It was like it spoiled me.
The Portis mine is rated at $1.75 billion, and it's only 4 acres.
Wow.
Excuse me.
How deep does the gravel go?
We haven't been able to find it yet, and I'm not that tall. I'm gonna need, like, they did send internal compass, and X4 went in with the dredge, and they got down to about 4 feet, and they were still, because what it is, it's weird. It's North Carolina. All right, so you have a layer of gravel, then you have some really terrible thick red clay, then you have a rotten bedrock layer mixed with, but there's gravel in that red clay. All the way throughout it is gravel. Then you got more gravel and broken bedrock. Hey, you guys, what's up, Charlie? And then even further down, you've got larger cobbles, and then under there, another layer of red clay with gravel, and then another layer of gravel, and then we haven't even, and that's about 6.5 feet, and we haven't been able to get further than that. We're going to have to go to a different location, I think, because he uses it for tourism and camping. We don't want to take all of his gold. I mean, I could go down there with my Keen and with Junior and the wife. My wife is a farm girl. She can shovel with the best of them. And she out shoveled Badger. My wife out shoveled Badger.
We need a shovel off.
She shoveled him to dirt. But he wasn't used to the 110 degree southern heat.
I wasn't tired from shoveling. I was brutally broken from 110 degree heat, and we were the only one who were doing high banking without a canopy. All right,
everyone else we didn't have a canopy, nothing.
We're out in the sun, just baking to death. I'm like,
but just up the road, we have full bedrock exposure, so it's very, very weird. Their elevation difference between the 2 points is only 40 feet. So, but it goes uphill and it's the exposed bedrock. So how far down do we have to go down in that little ditch? I don't know, but I'd love to find out. I'd love to see
close to the
down
dredge.
at the bottom.
Close to the dredge?
Yes.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how deep that dredge could go.
Right.
Well, the dredge is no longer maneuverable, but
you can almost tell by the length of the.
So my question is, with these dredges, how did it work? This dredge, how did it work back then? Obviously, it wasn't a tube, someone sucking things up.
Okay, so for this type of dredge, it was a bucket line dredge. And the big buckets would go down and scoop up material, and then there'd just be a whole bunch of buckets in a circle, and it would come up, it would dump onto a conveyor, then that conveyor would take it down to a wash plant and sluice area, and it would sluice it out, discharge the bigger rocks out one side, sluice down the middle, and then they had mercury collection zones.
And then that would coagulate all the gold together.
It would snatch all the gold out of there and collect it into the mercury. Yep.
Yeah, until the mercury is full.
Until the mercury is full. And there's no real way to tell how deep that one went because the entire bucket line was scrapped for World War I. So there's no remaining buckets. There's no way to tell
how much volume it did.
For the topographic map of the area, they're looking at having a wood map made, and for where the dredge started to where it was found, the wood map is going to have to be 10 inches thick to show the elevation change that the dredge traveled through. So if you could imagine that.
Okay, so it moved first.
The dredges would make their own pond. They would make their own pond. They would dam it up with their tailings and just move up. And then make another one and just move up until all the gold was gone. They could incredibly move through narrow valleys and everything.
It was insane to see.
I'm guessing that kind of gold mining is no longer permitted.
No, not around here.
Shocker.
I think they do it in Mongolia yet.
Yeah, it sounds like literally R-wording the earth.
It's they kind of do it up in Alaska, but not to that extent.
Yeah, they don't they dig holes and then process it.
Yeah.
But somehow that seems less.
Oh, a lot less.
Yeah, but you hardly handle the dirt though. That's the advantage of it.
Yeah, because you could move.
Your overburden goes to make your dam, and you got that out of the way, and then you're letting her fill up with water, and you keep going. But I'm pretty sure that you could forensically look at it and find out how deep they were going.
The estimation was at about 60 feet for what they moved. So the elevation that they moved was 673 feet, from my understanding.
Uphill. Okay. So, yeah, but how deep was the bucket line going? That's my question, because they would actually go right down to the whatever bedrock they couldn't move, and that all got they even beat the bedrock up.
I don't think they reached it.
They didn't reach it, and it honestly looked like they were going somewhere. They were chasing something.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's probably there's probably
Countless.
just serious amounts of gold there.
Oh,
Yes. Well,
Oh, yeah.
Mike Pung was finding 2, 3, and 4 gram pickers
Yep.
in the tailings, right at the end of the dredging.
Wow. That's
I know.
incredible.
I know. It's like it's unbelievable to think. Like,
And that's in less than 2 hours, coming out with about an ounce.
Wow, that's incredible. Yep, that's a good day's work there, Badger. He got his ounce in 2 hours.
Well, see, and that's what we're looking at is with his energy level, the fact that I can dive all day. If we had the right equipment and the right stuff, it'd be not only content wise, but we'd be unstoppable because we have all the land and the legalities to do it.
Yeah.
Virginia is cool because there are no real regulations on personal prospecting when you're on private property. If you have landowners' permission, you can do what you want.
Yeah, that
You just have to not pollute.
Where is the dredge located, though? I mean, what state?
That's just south of North Carolina on the same. It's in the same gold range that we live on.
Okay, so
it's just south of us in North Carolina.
Yeah, there's several different sources there, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I heard that they even find gold up on the hills there. They, like you said before, the gold is where they find it.
Yep.
They found nuggets up on the tops of the hills.
And that's just like that spot in the Blue Ridge Mountains where Scorpion Metals and I went. The guy called us and he's like, "Hey, I live next to the gold mine in Kentucky. Do you think there's gold on my property?" And he sent the coordinates, and I went and I got on the maps and I was doing the geological surveys and checking stuff out. And I was like, I get to keep half of what I find. Yeah, I'll come out, but I'm keeping half what I find. And he had no problem with that. And now he wants us to take it further. So I think that we can have some fun out there.
Yeah, a couple episodes there, huh?
A couple months. It would take us. We've got 9 springs coming out of the hills on his property that go down into one main creek. But in each of the springs, we only tested 3 of the springs. But in each of the 3 springs we tested, we found a minimum of 50 pieces per pan.
Wow, that's incredible.
Tiny.
Yeah.
Microscope.
Hey, you know what? I can't wait for that video. How to pay off college debt. Start digging for gold. Let me tell you.
The stuff's tiny, but it's there. So now if you got the equipment to move it to get to the bigger stuff that's down lower, that's where we're going to be in there.
Yeah, you pay for your beans with the fine gold and you eat steak with the nuggets.
Yep.
I like that. I want that on a t-shirt. Ron, put that in a Pike River t-shirt. Heck yeah.
Yeah, got one up here.
Yeah, I like it.
I wear 4X, Ron. I wear 4X. I wear that.
Well, maybe I'll send you one. I have some made up.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm
excited, Ron.
We were looking at so Elijah, you want to know how hot and humid it is in the North Carolina jungle?
Oh, what is it? 97 with a humidity of 10 million?
So the humidity was 100%, and I'll tell you how I know. I lit a cigarette and it was so soaked it went out.
Oh. It's like walking through water.
Yeah, that's where he recorded me in the crack. When I was in that crack, getting the gold. Yeah,
in that thing.
It was the humidity was 110%. It wasn't raining, but the trees were dripping. We're in a over can. Like there's no sun hitting us, but it's still hot.
In the wintertime?
Because they do get snow up in the mountains.
So what? I surf in the winter. I
moved away from the snow on purpose.
Okay, well, if I was out there, man, I'll tell you what, I'd be out there in that 60-degree winters. Crap. Oh my gosh.
That part of the winter, that'd be fine. Oh yeah, I'll go swimming. Like when we came down here. we came down in May for St. Patrick's, the week of St. Patrick's a couple years ago. Charlie from AU guys, he was wearing his full coveralls. It was 10 below when we left my house. When we got down here, it was 85 at 9:00 in the morning. It was amazing.
Yeah, you have to take Flower Gold Wizard with you if you ever want to go winter prospecting. He just reaches right down in there. He did a time lapse, and you think that maybe he was just showing off for the camera for a brief. No, that's how he was moving the pieces. One piece, my hands sting. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah.
That's how I am though with the winter.
So I fell through the ice. I'm not playing with that stuff. I'm good.
I fell through twice now, but I live for like the winter, man. I love winter. I live for it. I don't know what it is about the cold. It's just like that extreme temp just keeps me so level-headed. Like, I don't know, like in the heat, I get foggy, I get delirious, I feel like I need to take everything off. But in like the wintertime, I can always find a way to get warmer. I cannot always get cooler. What is that?
All right. So Scorpion says sometimes it gets really cold. 60 is fall and spring. I have seen it in the single digits and 10 below with the wind chill. Doesn't happen often though.
My fall, no problem.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah, exactly. And I told him last year on Christmas, it was 61 degrees down here. I'm like, seriously? This is your winter?
My first surfboard in Marquette, Michigan, I broke on an iceberg surfing in the end of February. All right. It was negative with the windshield. It was probably like negative 15 out. And like the water should be frozen, but because it's Lake Michigan and you have to walk out 30 yards of iceberg before you jump in the water to then get to where the water breaks. And it's like so cold. I love it. But granted, you're wearing a suit. You're prepared for it. So it's not, which is what I will totally wear in the water, probably. Although it was too hot to wear.
They were out in there when we went down spring dirt fling, they were dredging and he was wearing his scuba suit. I was down there in my swim trunks and I was down there underwater. I was fine, but I'm a little fluffier. I'm a little built I'm built for it.
I had to keep taking that hot water.
Elijah, he didn't like the cold mountain water.
Well, I like the cold mountain water.
The hot water tube makes you feel like you're peeing.
Yeah, I didn't like. Well, also it got me too hot because, like, with the suit, well, once you get going and once you're underwater, you're good. But it was surprising.
Have a good night, Dutchie. Thanks for watching from Amsterdam.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night, guys. Night, Dutchie. But yeah, I was surprised how cold the river waters were of the mountains. Like with how warm it was outside, and then how cool. Like I loved it. The mountain water. You could sit there and just I'll tell you what, Gold Eagle from Gold Eagle Prospecting, man, had it the right way. I need to find me a little kiddie chair. He bought like a little kid's chair, the folding ones. And he sits it out and it just lets his little butt sit right in the water. And so you just sit there in the water panning. He's got cup holders, little tray. He's got his lunch. I'm like, this man is retired and he's a genius. He knows what he's doing. Well, we're coming up on an hour and a half here. Be winding it down. But it's been a wonderful night, guys. We'd have a lot of awesome people out. Hey, you guys. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Everyone, I'd like to just say a big shout out and prayers again for you and your family. And my condolences again, buddy. I love you. And hope to see you out there in the creek soon. Scorpion. Hello.
All right, so Ron, I got another question for you.
Sure.
So you repeatedly stated that if you'd have done this when you were younger, all right, what did you do when you were younger?
I worked in a foundry at Kohler Company for 45 years. So you talk about heat. 45 years in a foundry is long enough. So and I feel I wasted myself. I had a good paying job. I raised my family. All that was good, but I could have done it a different way. I'm sure I could have done it a different way. You just find ways to make it work.
Yeah.
Like you guys have this interest in, doing some documentaries and stuff like that. More power to you. My advice, of course, I'm not living your life. My advice is to go for it.
Exactly. And we are. And it's guys like you that are willing to stand behind us and push us forward, that make it say, we're going to make it happen. We have no give up in us. My wife, she was a nurse for 20 some years. We packed up in April and moved 1,000 miles on this dream. We stopped. You'll see, you're a GPAA member, aren't you, Ron?
In and out. Yes. Yep.
Well, my September article was submitted, and if you are still a member right now, you'll get to see that article. And it tells about the fact that, my whole family, we picked up and we relocated to chase. Instead of dreaming about the treasures, we're going to chase the dream and live the dream and enjoy life while we can. Because like my grandpa, he was 64, 65. He retired, moved up to the farmlands, and then what do all guys do when they retire and they sit idle? They die.
Yeah.
We don't want that life. We don't want to, okay, well, you got 2 years to enjoy life now, everybody. And then you're done. I think that with Elijah's abilities, my knowledge and abilities, we have something that other people don't. And I think that we can make some magic happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Elijah's, great with the videography,
He is.
He does phenomenal stuff. That's one of the reasons I see a lot of potential there, is because he has that ability, and for somebody that loves the land so much,
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't get that appreciation until later in life. That some guys say, maybe I'm a hunter, maybe I'm a fisherman, which Elijah is, but he also enjoys all this other stuff. It's not like a one trick pony for the outdoors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a bit of, I think it's a bit of how I was raised, but a bit of how I'm ADHD maybe. That's why I need all this wonder, but I will take it, right? Squirrel.
If you look at,
right. It's so touching, Ron, because like the passion for the outdoors is where it all stems from. Like I love the land. Like I've never heard how anyone say it quite like that. Like I really appreciate that, Ron. Thank you.
You are of the land, Elijah.
Yeah.
You know it, baby. These fingernails are always dirty.
Yeah. That with your potential and that, you guys could probably go a long ways with it, because the sky's the limit. There's a lot of lanes that you can travel in. I like it. That's each one is like its own little lane. But if you really think about it, like even the old people that lived on those old farms, they appreciated the outdoors. They were actually bushcrafters.
Yes, bushcraft. That was my original.
They were blacksmiths. You could see, and the stuff. Sitting in front of my shop, a lot of my metal detecting finds.
Yeah.
These people, they took a piece of raw metal and made it something else. I even have a gun barrel that they were using as a punch for something else. And I think Elijah saw it. It was like the Octagon 22.
Yeah, the barrel. That's so awesome. Yeah, the old Octagon barrel. Oh, yeah.
Elijah.
How?
It says that you banned and their comments were removed.
What?
You guys prospecting was banned and their comments were removed.
I didn't mean to. How do I undo that? What? I was, my hands were doing this the whole time. How did
We'll figure it out, Charlie, and get you unbanned. It happens. I did it to Rock Butcher for 2 months on accident.
I'm so sorry, Charlie. We'll fix it tonight. But yeah, dude.
But Jericho, you living in Virginia, you have a lot of potentials there too, because
yes, sir.
the history. I'd love to go metal detecting there sometime with you.
You are more than welcome to come down, and
I would love that because we here in Wisconsin, well, except for the copper artifacts, which are like older than the Egyptian, than the Egyptian pharaohs. Against this stuff, Egyptian stuff is what you'd call modern trash. 9,000 years old.
Right.
So, that's on my bucket list. But my bucket list is to get into an area that is Civil War, to have some of that history.
Hand, right? Yeah, dude, Ron, same. Well, definitely.
Ron, I have right now, literally, I could throw a baseball, and I have 2 Civil War encampments. I have a Revolutionary War encampment and maps that show along the creek. And I think I froze.
No, you didn't. You're good.
Oh, so there's.
Now you froze.
Well, wait. It sounds like he has something good to say. Okay.
It seems like it's worth the wait.
See, I was having the spinnies, so I didn't know I had the connection. All right, so the farm is immaculate, and it's the Scorpion Metals family farm. You can see from where my campsite is, you can see the cabin, and then you can see the other original house got burnt down, but like all throughout the property are native burial grounds, an old native village, the diggings that his dad found, a variety of other places, and then the Civil War stuff as well. And I'm ready, but like I said, I'm waiting. I don't want to go by myself. I want the discovery to be with my treasure fam. Ron, you are an honorary treasure fam member.
Oh,
you are in it, man.
Yeah,
here's Charlie from Hey You Guys.
Hey you guys.
Hey, Charlie.
This is Hey You Guys, Charlie.
What's up, Prospector Ron? How you doing?
Hey, pretty good. How are you, Charlie?
I'm doing all right.
I don't know how I banned you for 300 seconds.
It happens. It's one of those things where you go to click to show it, and instead of clicking it, something else pops up. I've done it before too.
Oh, I bet, because I tried to show. Was that the one of you talking about the ADHD?
Yeah, you're outdoors ADHD or something, and then you banned him.
You might have clicked something else.
Oh no, I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, no, Ron, you are more than welcome to come down and hang out with the Scorpion Metals band and come out. It's not really a band. I say band like as in our peoples, but like come down to the shop, do some silver casting, do some gold smelting, do some copper smelting, laser yourself your own Prospector Ron coin, and I think you'd have a blast coming down south with us, and especially I'm an event guy. I do event planning, and I find locations, and I find people, and I coordinate, and I'm not afraid to call and say, hey, I've got an idea. This is what we want to do. This is who we are. This is what we can do for you. Can we come there? And I've been told no, but I've been told yes a lot more than I've been told no. And I think we could put up a heck of an event. Unless you just want to wait and we can wait to detect it for spring and do it spring dirt fling 24 and have Ron come down in the convoy.
He might be metal detecting expert, let me tell you.
I pretty much stay at my shop between May 1st and I close up at the end of October.
Well, that's perfect. Come down for November.
Well, guess what? It happens from the April 12th till April 24th. So you got nothing to do. You can come down and hit the whole shebang. We have Civil War detecting, Revolutionary War colonial sites. We have the North Carolina Treasure Hunter Campground, and then we had 50 different places we could choose from to go rock hounding for 50 different gemstones, different locations.
All the places for the gemstones. I bet Anastasia likes that.
Oh yeah, she would love that. That's her favorite. Ron already knows.
And then we got a place where you can go down and get clams and get your own pearls out and stuff. And
Yeah, don't tell her she doesn't watch these lives. She's not here right now, but I'm fixing to find enough gold to make a ring eventually here, and then a pearl to put on top. So
I got to get Elijah out to Nugget Lake with me sometime. So
yeah, dude, I know. I got to get out there. We got to talk to Ron to get his advice for it and see what gear we need for it.
Now, Charlie, where are you from? Just a quaint.
Wisconsin. I'm like 30 minutes east of Elijah, or no, west of Elijah.
I'll bring him to the if he's available for on this month's meetup here, the third Thursday, the 15th, July 15th.
Yeah, you're not too far from me. Then I'm like 10 minutes north of Crivets.
Yeah, so you're like 2 hours from me.
Yeah. Yeah,
I know exactly where Crivets is. I know all the back roads to get there. I used to pressure wash wheel barns in that area, so I know right where it is.
Do you have your charger?
Well, you know what, guys? Thank you all for hanging out. It's been a lovely pleasure, and everyone, and all those that make sure to stay on, and we'll talk after we go backstage. But everyone, thank you so much for watching tonight's Badger Banter. Ron, thank you so much for hanging out. And as a recap, everyone, make sure to put on your calendars if you want to hang out with Mr. Badger, Ron from Ron Prospecting. And I'm going to try my hardest to get Jericho out here. But August 5th is going to be the starting date, and I'm going to be posting about it on my channel, and you can also see even more about it from Ron at Prospecting, Pike River Prospecting on Facebook, Pike River Prospecting LLC. Guys, the link is in the description of this video. Go check them out for all your prospecting needs. And we meet every third Saturday of every month, guys. We'll be meeting this July 15th at 9 a.m., where I will be there. Well, hopefully Miss Honey Badger as well, if she's not still with our new little niece, or right? Yeah, that's what they call her sister's baby. Yo, that's awesome. But we're going to be there at 9 a.m., guys, at Pike River Prospecting LLC. Meet us there. We're going to be going out and prospecting in real time here in Wisconsin. So if you're available, we'd love to see you there. Ron, is there anything you'd like to say here coming to the end of the show?
Oh, I would just like to thank everybody for having me on, and it's nice to meet you other guys, and I hope you accept me in as a part of your community here.
Oh, definitely. We are honored that you
Ron, you're welcome.
Part of the community, man. We have more than welcome into it. We love hearing about you, and it's so much fun talking here tonight with you. It's a pleasure, honestly. Well, that being said, guys, this is Badger Exploration. We find things, everyone. Make sure to check out Jericho and Hercules and Charlie from AU Guys Prospecting. You have a wonderful night. Have a good one.
Good night, you too.